Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Riches. Tonight we'll remember the legacy of people from Finland migrating through the Humber ports, and we'll examine the consequences of a new piece of legislation for man's and woman's best friend. But first, it's over to James Dunn for the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, more on Dementia Awareness Week as a new app to detect the disease early is trialled, and Lincolnshire beaches are recognised as among the best in the country. A new app which can detect early signs of dementia is being trialled at pharmacies and doctor's surgeries in North East Lincolnshire. The app has a short exercise to test memory and asks a series of questions about how the person feels. It's hoped that it can detect the early signs of dementia and allow doctors to intervene earlier, which could slow the progression of the disease.
In the last 3 weeks, we've done 70 tests, and 22%, I think it's about 18 people have come back with memory problems. With it being a pilot scheme, it's for 3 months, so there's 5 GP surgeries and 5 pharmacies doing it at the moment. And what they're hoping to do is roll it out across the area for all surgeries and pharmacies to be able to use it. The good thing about when pharmacies do it is anybody can go and access it from anywhere in the area. They don't need to be registered at any GPs, and the information is still sent to the GP surgery. Where at present, with it being a pilot scheme, we can only do our patients.
By taking the test, we're finding people with memory impairment before it becomes a real issue in their life, so we can get social services and support in there really early. And also by referring to the memory clinic, we can get them treatment quite early on in the disease process to prevent progression as fast as it was in their past.
A 40-year-old man has died after an industrial accident on the Humber Sea terminal. He sustained fatal injuries after being trapped under a lorry on Monday. Police have confirmed that the Health and Safety Executive have been informed. An enterprise suite for the children of Killinghome Primary moved a step closer when the ground was broken in a special ceremony at the North Lincolnshire School. Phillips 66 gave $240,000 to the initiative after the project was the only one in Europe to be selected for the oil company's community fund.
It gives us a forum and opportunity to continue to participate, mentor, provide advice, and really provide impetus and initiative to the way we can leverage the enterprise suite. You know, ideally, we operate on one end with apprenticeship schemes that are helping to bring people later in their education career into the workplace with the skills we need. This gets people at the front end and makes them aware of what's on the doorstep, what great jobs exist in this area, what great employment opportunities we have. And if we can bring people in, raise that awareness at an early age, support it all the way through and follow it through, I think it's fantastic.
The Local Enterprise Partnership wants to have every school in the area with a direct link with local businesses to do, perhaps not as ambitiously as this project, but to encourage kids to believe that there are jobs around and that they need to train themselves or get trained to be able to deal with those jobs, because there are plenty of jobs here. The problem is there aren't enough people to fill the local job locally.
The school itself, since this whole project, we've worked alongside secondary schools and colleges, and we've all got that same drive, the desire for children to have that chance and actually experience what it is in the world of work. You know, children as they're growing up, when you ask them what do you want to be, it's a footballer, Superman, you know, a princess, because they've not really got any experience of other jobs that could be out there. And I feel that with the suite, and yes, it is an innovative idea in that we're sort of passing that ownership over to the children and say, right, it's your business, you do it, you staff it, you run it. If you make a loss, you have to take it out of your next month's money, you know, and that type of thing. And it's really making it real for the children.
1 in 79 houses in Hull was repossessed last year, according to new figures from a homeless charity. A study by Shelter shows 330 houses a week are threatened with repossession in Yorkshire and the Humber. Hull has the highest rate in the region, while North East Lincolnshire is in second. Beaches across Lincolnshire have been given top international awards, which will prove to potential visitors that they're of the highest quality. Over 55 beaches in England were given the Blue Flag Award, which is based on factors including water quality and facilities. Among them this year were Cleethorpes, Mablethorpe, Skegness and Sutton-on-Sea. North East Lincolnshire Council's Assistant Director of Economy, David Moore, said it will act as a guarantee to tourists that the beach meets the highest international standards. That's all from me. Bye for now.
Until independence, after the Russian Revolution of 1917, the Grand Duchy of Finland was part of the empire of the Russian Tsars. Many Finns left for new and warmer lives. Emma Lingard reports on their transit via the Humber.
Hull's connection to Finnish migration was officially acknowledged in a ceremony attended by the Ambassador for Finland. Brought together by academics from the University of Hull and the Research Institute in Finland, the idea was spurred by need to commemorate the migrant story.
Well, this was, I think, originally my own idea when I came to UK 2010 and was thinking what to achieve, what to organize outside London. This was one of the ideas that I had developed because I had read about the role of Hull in this transatlantic migration spectacle or operation quite a lot, and I thought that it would be high time to somehow pay tribute to what happened and to Hull's role as a facilitator of this great movement of humanity.
The exhibition charts the story of the journey from Finland via the UK to North America, but some Finns settled in the city for a short time to trade.
Some people did stay in Hull. They were immigrants or commercial people who traded with Hull, and Finns have traded with Hull for nearly a millennia. You know, large connections, timber, bread products, a large number of commodities that the region imported, but most were bound for America, and they stayed in Hull for a short amount of time. Hull, because of a trading monopoly, managed to ship the migrants over from Europe to Hull, and then they would join a train here from Hull to Liverpool and then go over to America. And for one price of one ticket, this integrated ticket, Finns could journey all the way to America and start a new life there.
The Finns were helped on their journey by a Hull shipping agency who assisted over 300,000 emigrants between 1891 and 1924. It was John Good's ancestors who began this.
My ancestor, the original John Good, was a sea captain trading with Finland, and because of his connections, they were appointed agents for the Finland Steamship Company, who were then starting to bring emigrants from Finland over to Hull, and then the emigrants were then travelling over to North America via Liverpool.
Legislation currently in Parliament means that in 2016 it will be compulsory to chip all dogs. James Dunn sniffs out the story.
We call them man's best friends. Often they're part of the family, and if they were to go missing, it's us who would be lost without them. So it's understandable that more and more people are now microchipping their dogs. This small chip goes under the skin and holds the owner's information, so if found, they can easily be returned.
This is Betsy. She's 10 weeks old. We got a microchip to make sure no one pinched her, and if she was lost, we'd be able to find her.
Yeah, she's called Ruby. She's about 4-year-old now. Yep, she loves the walks. Loves the great outdoors. She's forever getting out the back garden and takes herself round for a sniff in the front garden. So it just goes to show how easy it would be for her to run away.
Literally hundreds of dogs can be microchipped in a single day at an event like this one held by the Blue Cross. But thousands more will have to before 2016, when new legislation will make it mandatory.
Laws are going to be changing very soon where all dogs will have to be microchipped. So every person that's got a dog will have to have their dogs microchipped, and that will be a legal thing for people to do.
And it's worthwhile. Authorities can easily access a dog's information so they won't be barking up the wrong tree when looking for the owner.
So if your dog did go missing or it was stolen and it got taken into your local police station, council, what they would do, or a vet, what they would do is scan the dog with one of the scanners, okay? And then when you scan it, it comes up with a number which matches the number on the chip. They will be rendering the main database and get all your details, and they can contact you to say they've got your dog.
So when it comes to your dog's security, it's up to you to take the lead. And many owners find that it's well worth doing so for their own peace of mind.
All my dogs are microchipped, and everyone that works at the Blue Cross, you know, we'd all get our dogs microchipped so that you do know if it did wander or get lost, that you would be able to hopefully get it back.
Yeah, definitely, because you hear about all dogs going missing and stuff like that, and I'd hate someone to pinch her.
I thought it was a good idea because she's, well, if she ever got out and got lost, well, I'd be pretty upset for sure. So.
James Dunn, Estuary TV News.
And James Dunn joins me now. James, how do the dogs like this? Isn't it a bit cruel sticking something under their skin?
Well, actually, it kind of varies. I mean, I watched quite a few of these dogs have it done, and some of them yelp a little bit, but some of them absolutely just don't batter an eyelid, like absolutely no reaction at all. So I think it must be a bit of a strange feeling, and the ones that yelp is probably more uncomfortable than painful.
And there's minimal chance of infections or any bad consequences for them for their
Yeah,
health.
I mean, from what I know, actually, it's a really, really safe method. I mean, these people, they clean everything down meticulously, and there's individual needles for each dog, so they're very careful about how they do it.
And the information that the chips contain, or the chips lead to and identify, is a bit useless if it's out of date, isn't it? What happens if you change address?
Well, I mean, this is something to do with the new legislation, actually, because previously a lot of people have had their dogs microchipped, but they have been a little bit lazy in keeping their details up to date. So sometimes dogs have become lost, and I've talked to dog wardens who have found dogs in the past, but the details they have for the dog are updated. The people have moved on and moved on and moved on, so there's virtually no way of tracing them. But part of the reason for this new legislation really is to make it a lot easier. I mean, it was announced in February 2013, and it doesn't come into force until April 2016. So there's plenty of time to have it done, but I think part of the reason for it is to avoid these problems. I mean, what it actually means is that every owner from that point is going to have their dog microchipped, their details registered on a database, rather like a car actually. And like a car also, if you do move away to a different address, well, if you give away a dog or sell a dog, then you are obliged to register the details of that new owner as well.
And what are the penalties if you break the law? If you break this new law, what happens to you?
Well, it's not prison, I'm afraid, but I mean, you can get fines of up to...
Not kennel either.
No, but fines of up to £500. So I think there's plenty of incentive for people to keep to these guidelines.
You were talking to the Blue Cross there, and they're obviously offering a very valuable service in making this possible. Are there other ways? Are there other sources of help with this?
I mean, there's loads of ways you can get it done. I mean, your vet will do it for you. There's plenty of places to do it. I mean, the Blue Cross, reason we went to see them is that they are an animal charity. So technically you can have your dog microchipped for free if you don't think that you can afford that. And I suppose with legislation like this coming into place, that's going to be relevant for a lot of families who think, you know, oh God, how am I going to afford this? Because I've got a dog, I love my dog, but you know, I don't want to break the law and I haven't got the money. So, I mean, options are out there, places like the Blue Cross, if people feel they don't have the money to do that. But then if you have a trusted local vet, then you can go to them, and I'm sure it doesn't cost a great deal of money.
The whole purpose of this sort of scheme, this sort of legislation, is that stray dogs no longer need to remain stray because they can be found where their homes are. But of course there are dogs that simply don't have any homes and nobody to look after them and give them this chipping. If you find a stray dog, what's the procedure? What should you do?
Well, there are dog wardens in place. So most local authorities have dog wardens. North East Lincolnshire Council do have a dog warden, so you can contact them. Unfortunately, I don't think this legislation is going to do much good for those dogs, so it's not going to really be relevant for them. But for those that are lost, I mean, figures from last year show that 100,000 dogs were lost in 2013
in the UK.
In the UK, and that apparently cost the taxpayer around £57 million. So that shows in itself what the need for this legislation. And while they won't wipe out that entire cost, because some of those will have been stray and there's not a lot you can do for them, then hopefully it will help close up some loopholes in the system.
James, thank you very much. That's all we have time for. If you do have a story for us, please email news@estuary.tv or contact us via Twitter or Facebook, or pick up the phone and call us on 01472 315561. Until tomorrow, goodbye.